I am very pleased to be in a room that I believe is filled with talented, skilled, and driven people. If you're not talented, skilled, and driven, save yourself some time, grab a cup of coffee, and go to work. But if you're talented, skilled, and driven, thank you for being here today. I appreciate it. And I appreciate the fact that I believe I'm in front of people who have a singular purpose of making a living and making a difference in their life. So thanks again for being here. And I also believe that because kids are watching us, that we need above all else to have an answer to the ultimate question, and that is, what on earth are we doing on the earth? When I speak before audiences, whether they be small or large, whether they be churches or any other kind of organization, I will ask that question, and I will say, whether you believe in God or not, you still need to answer that question. What on earth are you doing on the earth? Kids are watching us, and they want us to have an answer to that question. Kids are looking for adults with certainty in their life. They do not want people who say perhaps to the most important questions of life. Perhaps is one of the weakest English words that we have. And at times it's appropriate to answer questions with the word perhaps. When a child asks a father, are we going to Grandma's for Thanksgiving? It might be appropriate to say, perhaps. If a child asks, Mom, are we having spaghetti for dinner tonight? It might be appropriate to say, perhaps. But there are other times when the word perhaps should not be used. When a young man kneels down on his knee and opens up a little box with an engagement ring and says to the young lady, will you marry me? Perhaps is not the right answer. If you have ever lied in a hospital room and was worried about your condition, and the doctor walked in and you said, Doctor, am I going to make it? Perhaps is not the right answer. There are some questions that deserve, with certainty, an appropriate answer. And so I want to talk with certainty about certain things today. One is very simple. In fact, I'd like to get to know you a little bit better. How many of you have children of your own? We have 3. Okay, most of you do. How many of you love your children? The same hands ought to go up. Another question I have. Can you name one person in your life, by name, who has affected you deeply when you were a youngster? Youth pastor, teacher, somebody in your life that affected you. Can you name that person? Yes? Okay. Can you name 12 of them? Now, it might take you a little bit more energy. Again, when I'm referring to education, we ought to remember all 12, actually 13 when you add kindergarten, all 13 folks that had us in their presence for 6 or 7 hours a day, all year long. They sometimes spent more time with you in your waking hours than your parents did. But we don't remember all of them. However, conversely, let me say that there is power in one person for 1 year in your life, if it was a teacher you were thinking of. For me, it was Miss Allers. She was my 3rd grade teacher, and she taught me to read. Now, many of you may not know my story, but I was born in Greece. I don't know who my real parents are. I was adopted when I was 4 or 5 or 6 years old. The papers were all, because it was an illegal adoption mill. And I was sold into, I don't know what else to call it, a trafficking situation when I was a young child. I don't remember all of the things that happened to me, but I do remember a lot of the abuse. If you've seen the movie Slumdog Millionaire, you know what I'm talking about. In fact, my wife knows that it took me a while to even watch that movie. And they would cut the digits off. They would cut the fingers or toes off of the children over in the India area because it would make them look poorer to the tourists, and the tourists would shell out more money. Now, oddly enough, and I hope this puts a smile on your face, I didn't have any fingers or toes cut off. I knew how to raise money back then. And I still do. Anyhow, God allowed me to become an expert in that area, regardless of my upbringing. But my parents, the Heymanns, adopted me. My real name is Pondalis Koudanos. That's my Greek name. And so I have that privilege of being chosen and loved by folks here in America. And I've come to the conclusion that human beings are a product of reproduction, but children are a product of love. And that's why some of us probably have a child that's not even ours that has said to us, I wish you were my mom or dad. Or they've even called you mom or dad because you love them.